Hey guys, it's Tamer with All Day Athletics. Today we have Jay here, who's one of our athletes that's going to help us demonstrate the proper way for football players to lift. A lot of the time we see football players that are doing bodybuilding workouts. Now, sometimes are those okay? Sure, change it up, do something different. But the majority of your lifts should not be the type of lifts that bodybuilders are doing, where you're trying to maximize your physique or you're stressing one particular muscle. For the most part, you should be doing your compound lifts, which are lifts that are using more than one joint. Squats, deadlifts, bench press, okay? As we do those, we also want to do a certain tempo, which is how the bar moves, the speed at the bar, the speed of the bar, is one of the things we want to focus on to help develop explosiveness or to help develop your movements that are going to be able to apply or convert rather from the weight room onto the field, okay? So we're gonna start off with the squat, and Jay's gonna demonstrate just your standard squat, what we should look for in proper form, as well as what type of tempo we should do. So he's gonna start off by doing 3 squats. He's gonna get under the bar right over here. Picks it up. Main thing I'm looking at right now is I want his chest. I wanna be able to read All Day Athletics across his chest. I want his knees to not go over his toes, and I want his feet to stay totally flat. His hips are gonna go back. Okay? He's gonna do 3 squats right now. Nice and smooth, good. He goes down, right at 90 degrees or a little bit higher is totally fine. Good, 3, let's rack it. Awesome. The next thing we're gonna focus on now is the tempo. That's a standard tempo, okay? Nice and easy, he got under the bar, he went down nice and smooth, he came up nice and smooth. Now to develop explosiveness, he's gonna have to change the speed of that bar. He's gonna control it on the way down as he braces the weight, and then he's gonna drive up for speed, all while maintaining that same technique that he completed in the first set. So he's gonna go back on for a set of 3. Good, we wanna make sure we can see them all right now. Now he's gonna take his time, should take him anywhere from 2 to 3 seconds to go all the way down. 2, 3, and then drive up. Good. As he's coming up, that bar should jiggle. Boom. Just like he's trying to throw it off his back. Beautiful. Good. Put it back. Now, one thing I want to show, and I want to do this without the bar, is actually bad technique. I don't want to have him do bad technique with weight on his back because that's just dangerous and stupid. I want him to show what a bad squat looks like, which honestly, some of you guys, it may be your technique because you just don't know any better, okay? So, show me a couple bad squats. Now, a bad squat, what did we say we want to focus on? We want to focus on his chest being up, we want to focus on his knees staying behind his toes, and his feet being flat. So, bad technique is anything that negates any of the things we just mentioned. So, his chest falling forward or facing the ground, his knees coming over his toes, and his heels coming up off the ground. So, a bad squat, give me one bad squat, Jay, as if you had the bar. Chest is coming down, knees aren't too bad on there, but still, it's not good because all the weight, now stop right there, hold that. Now, if you look, if he had the bar on his back, all the weight is pressing and stressing his lower back. This is an injury waiting to happen, guys. Now, let's say his chest was up nice and tall, but his knees are over his toes. All the stress is gonna be shifted to his knees, and his heels are now off the ground as well. Another bad technique, okay? The main thing you should focus on, guys, is once again, if you have something written across your chest, the person who across from you who's looking at you squat should be able to read it, okay? You don't want your knees coming over your toes because you don't want all the stress to be shifted to your knees, okay? You want to use your glutes, you want to use your quads to drive the weight up, okay? If you guys have any questions about this, let us know in the comments. Ask, okay? Ask away. Pick our brains. We will answer that. We're gonna move on now to deadlifts, okay? So we're gonna take this down. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Take it down to the ground. Awesome. So now, deadlifts, it's gonna be a little different technique. Yes, we still want the knees behind the toes, so we don't want the knees coming over the toes because we almost never want the knees coming over the toes in any workout for the most part. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but for the most part, anytime you're doing movements that involve your lower body, for the most part, you want your knees behind your toes, okay? The main difference between squats and deadlifts is in a deadlift, your chest actually faces the ground. okay? Because you're not isolating your quads in this movement, or your quads aren't the major mover. I shouldn't say isolated. They're not the major mover. They're not the muscle that's doing most of the work. Most of the work is now coming from your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back. Hamstrings, glutes, lower back. That's the main driver of the deadlift. It's a hip hinge movement. I'm not gonna get too technical with that. But as we come over here to do the deadlift, Jay's gonna approach the bar. His legs are gonna come next to it. His chest is gonna face down. Don't lift it just yet. Notice, now, come over here. I want to take take a closer look at his back rather. His back is totally straight. He's puffing his chest out. There's no curve in his back. So although his chest is facing the ground, his back is straight. So he's not stressing his spine. The muscles in his back are taking the load, okay? They're the ones handling the load. So now he's gonna lift up. He's gonna stand straight up. His hips come forward. And he's gonna put it right back down. His chest is gonna come down. Good. Comes back up. And comes back down. Let's do one more. Good, and back down. Now, one thing, Jay, don't move. You can stand up, but don't move your feet. One thing I wanna show you guys, bring the camera right over here. The one thing you also wanna do when you do a deadlift is your feet can actually be a little bit closer, all right, than when you're doing a squat. The reason for that is because when you're squatting, your legs are a little bit wider because you're bracing the weight, okay? The weight is coming down. The weight is coming down on your back from here, and you're bracing so you can be wider. When you're doing a deadlift, you're driving the weight up, okay? Think about when you jump. If I told you to get ready to jump as high as you can, most of you guys, for the most part, you're gonna narrow your stance and get ready to explode up. You're not gonna widen your stance. It's the same concept with the deadlift. You're gonna narrow your stance. Now, if we apply the same principles to tempo that we did to the deadlift as we did on the squats, we're gonna speed up the repetitions of when you're moving the weight off of the ground and driving it up for speed, okay? So Jay's gonna narrow his stance a little bit. Perfect. His chest is facing the ground, back is totally straight. He's gonna drive up for speed. Nice and smooth control on the way down. He touches the ground, drives back up for speed. Good, smooth and controlled on the way down. Drives back up, awesome, and he puts it down. Beautiful, beautiful. The last thing I wanna show you guys, which it's the same exact principles in terms of the tempo, is the bench press, okay? Just go over a few mistakes that we see. Before we even get to that, a few mistakes for deadlift. Like we said, curving your back, wrong, okay? Don't curve your back. All right, let's say don't grab the weight, Jay, because once again, we don't want to hurt ourselves. But if your back is curved prior to picking up the bar, you're asking for trouble, okay? This is an injury waiting to happen. The other thing, if your knees are over the bar and your heels are up and you're leaning over, you're asking for trouble, all right, guys? We want to make sure, what I say all the time when we're working with guys is keep a Superman chest. All right, Superman, his pose, his famous pose, his chest is puffed out, his hands are back here, his back is totally straight. He's puffing his chest out, all right, which ultimately just keeps your back straight, all right? I don't want to over curve in any direction. It's just overstressing. It's not worth it. You guys are going to get hurt, okay? And don't go crazy about the weight. Tempo is way more important than the weight. If you could do 300 pounds, all right, if you can deadlift or squat 300 pounds, but it looks like crap, that's not going to be as effective as squatting 200 pounds and it being explosive and violent and having perfect form and perfect technique, all right? Last thing we're going to do is a bench. So I'll pick this up, strip the bar. All right, I'm going to move it over here. Okay. So the last lift we're covering for right now, for today, is gonna be the bench press. Now, standard bench press, he's gonna find a grip that's comfortable for him. Usually, standard grip is when you take your arms and you just put them straight up. You can be a little bit wider, a little bit narrow, whatever's comfortable for you. There is no universal grip, okay? He puts his arms up, he finds an even grip on the bar, so he doesn't want to grab more to one side than the other. That's what these rings are. If you guys can see, let's bring the camera a little closer. If you can see these rings over here, there you go. There's 2 rings. That's to measure measure your grip or the distance of your grip on the bar. So, okay. What's a little close? There you go, so fix that. Awesome. Good. He's gonna bring his eyes right underneath the bar. Good adjustment. Good. He's gonna find his grip. Typically, if there's heavier weight on here and he needs a spot, I'll come under, I'll ask him, I'll say, Jay, do you need a lift? He'll say yes if he needs it. If not, I'll step off. If I'm giving him a lift, I'm gonna count him down, or he'll count me down. Go ahead. Good. Up. Good. He's gonna take it nice and smooth now to his chest, nice and smooth on the way up. Good. Keep going, Jay. I wanna cover a few things as you go. As you guys notice, his armpit is making a V. His elbows aren't pointing to the total extreme outside, all right? And they're not pointing totally out. His armpits over here are making, look at it, literally, it's a V. If we can even look from over the top or even from the angle, wherever, you can see that it's totally, perfect, good. It's totally in line with how it should be, all right? Good, nice and smooth and controlled, good. Rack the bar, so take it back. Whoop. Normal bench press, all right? Now, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna add the explosive tempo to it, okay? How we develop that power, okay? Not saying that type of tempo won't develop power, just saying if you want to maximize the explosiveness from each lift. Now moving on to bench, it's the same principles. As we're lowering the weight, we're gonna take our time, nice and under control so that we stabilize it, and then we're gonna explode and drive it up, trying to throw the bar off of us. We do wanna make sure the bar is stable though. We don't wanna just throw it and lose balance, okay? So let's do 3 explosive reps, Jay. Finds his grip, picks it up. Good, I'm here for support if he needs it. Good, nice and smooth, drive. Good, he's trying to get the bar to jiggle at the top. Explode, good. Smooth, explode, awesome. Come back. Good job, man, good job. So guys, that's pretty much it for the main topics that we wanted to cover today. Once again, to maximize your lift as a football player, you want to be as explosive as possible. You want to be under control, but you want to generate power in the gym, okay? You want to make sure that you're doing the technique the right way. That's the number one thing. I do not care, I'm telling you. I don't care personally for the guys that we work with, and your coach most likely isn't gonna care about the weight you're pushing unless the technique is on point, okay? If you have any questions about any of the lifts we did or any other lifts, or you guys want some additional tips or anything at all, drop a comment. Take a look on our website as well, All Day Athletics. We do post different blog posts that do cover some of this in depth as well. Otherwise, if you guys found this useful, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.